card for a cart at Aldi because I didn't have a quarter, and that cart just like literally rolled that way. That is the Lord's favor.
This is another one of those situations where a Christian finds it easier to look at the positive side of this than to look at it holistically, because this lady is thinking that her prayer or her need for a quarter that she didn't have in order to go get a cart resulted in God caring enough about her that he provided the cart.
This is going to be a very sobering thought. It's not.
I've had things like this happen to me before. One night in 1988 at a school basketball game, I didn't have any money. I was hungry. I prayed to God, Lord, I'm hungry. That's all I said. I'm hungry. I don't know whether it was 10 minutes later or 30 minutes later, the school secretary comes up to me and gives me a basket of fries. I'm like, I haven't got any money. She's like, oh, it's okay, you can have them. Wow, I thank God. And keep in mind, I did not pray this loudly. I prayed this prayer silently. Nobody heard me praying it. So don't you dare say somebody heard me praying out loud and went and told her. And that's why she gave me the fries. I said this prayer silently. I didn't even move my lips. I said it in my head. I sure hope it's God. I sure hope it's God. Sigh. I'm having my doubts.
But what she's not acknowledging is that would mean there are people who have prayed for, things like rent so that their family doesn't end up homeless and they didn't get rent. There are people who have prayed that their abuser would stop abusing them. There are children that have cried out for that and they were met with nothing. You have to look at some of the worst atrocities in history and say that God chose to not get involved there. But in this moment, at this grocery store parking lot, God noticed that this lady needed a quarter, so he had a cart roll by. So what's more likely? That there's this God that exists that doesn't give a shit most of the time, but sometimes cares about things like a grocery cart?
In 1987, at Faith People Baptist Church, we had this family, a man and his wife and their half-son, and they had just gotten saved. The Sunday morning, the father got up to testify, give a testimony of thanks for the Lord. I was there. I heard this firsthand. So don't you dare accuse me of telling stories I can't prove. You just don't want to believe in these stories, but I digress. Forgive me, I had a stroke. Forgive me for being slow. I wish God loved me enough to cure my slow speech again and get me back the way I was before I had my freaking stroke, but I digress. That's why I think of you, God, sometimes. But anyways, he said, we had just filled up on gas in our car. And the gas tank was in the very back of our car. We were pulling out into the road. And there's this guy coming, speeding out of nowhere. And he was about to rear end us. With all that gas in our car could have exploded and we could have been killed. This massive hand came down between the two cars before the car could collide into the back of our car. The man who was driving the car that was going to rear end us got out of his car, shook his head in amazement. Dudley Jones was he's still alive. I begged him to tell this testimony on my YouTube. I begged him. But anyways, I asked him about this in 1996. I'm like, did it really happen? He's like, yes. What did the hand look like? It was big. Yet they backslid, all three of them, in the lives of sin. Me and my Dudley became best friends. We bred friends. We'd go out to karaoke. He loved to smoke marijuana. He tried to get me to smoke marijuana. He tried to get me laid. I'm still a virgin. I don't want sex. Why'd God save them if when they would have died back then, they would have gone to heaven? But if they died now, would they go to heaven? Still because they turned their backs on the Lord? Jesus, what is truth? I believe in Jesus and God, but I must believe.
Or that it was chance. It was a coincidence, and this lady was lucky, and that's cool, and that's fun. And you don't have to not get excited when things work out for you. But to assign it to a God and make it seem as though there's something just so great about you or this God that you got special treatment is causing you to be really lacking in compassion towards your fellow human beings who are not getting these things that they need, things that are significantly more important in life. It's so sad watching religion turn people that I don't think are necessarily bad people into really selfish, arrogant people, at least when they have to have this sort of mental gymnastics to think that this thing happened for them while ignoring other people's suffering.
This is going to be a very sobering thought.